All right, so I'm going to read something for you guys before we get started tonight. This is the Phillies' top of the fourth inning. Play by play, batter by batter. Alec Bohm started the inning off with a single. Nick Castellanos followed that up with another single, moving Bohm to second. Brandon Marsh then flied out the third, which was actually a bunt attempt that he popped up. Gene Segura reaches on an infield single to load the bases with one out. Then Bryson Stott fouls out, and Kyle Schwarber strikes out to end the inning. Folks, that has been the recipe for disaster all season long. It continues tonight. Welcome to the Phightins Final here on the Edge of Philly Sports Network with your boy Matty B and the Gobbler joining me tonight. Pat, good evening. And I know you're upset, so the floor is yours and take it away.
Matty B. Well, first of all, it's good to be with my tag team partner, the Mayfair Monster. It's always good to see you, my friend. You're always doing a phenomenal job on Tuesday nights as well at
Thank you.
9 p.m. right here on the network. But listen, where do I begin? Where I don't begin? This is a team that's trying to lose. The Chicago Cubs are trying to lose to you, and this baseball team, who I've been riding high with, and now has taken me down a avenue I don't want to go. This is down Tarzan Avenue. This is right down Robbins Ave, right into the Delaware River. They have drowned me out now of my fandom of any optimistic. They better hope that that the Brewers choke tonight because this team is now become laughing stock. We have laughed at the Mets collapsing at some point in September, and here we are being a laughing stock. Okay, this is a Chicago Cubs team that's trying to lose. You have Bryce Harper go 0 for 4. You have JT Remuto go 0 for 5. This is the meat of the locker room. This is the meat of the lineup that's supposed to be playing very, very well, and they have not done that in this series. This is again facing a Chicago Cubs team has nothing to play for. Nothing. I mean, I thought it was big positive signs when I saw Kyle Schwarber today steal from second to third. He is trying to win. You have Reese Hoskins who's been hitting the ball better. You have a couple guys, and this team and I thought Noel looked okay till that fifth inning, and then that's when the train came off the tracks, and this team had showed no aggressiveness, none of it. They have yet to get any juice inside them. It's pathetic at this point, pathetic. And here I am thinking we might just miss the postseason, and here we are for the third straight time in September where we had the chance of getting into the dance, where we got the door shut in our faces, all because of us.
Yeah, you feel better? Is it out
Oh
now?
yeah. Well, I think I got one more closet door I want to punch. So, but but
Uh,
no, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Pat, I echo your sentiments exactly. And, there's a lot to unpack in this game. There's a lot to unpack of what's happening right now with the Phillies. And no better person than me to unpack it with, seeing how I've been intently involved in this thing all season long. Maybe I'm becoming a little immune to it, but it's the same old for me. This team cannot play small ball. We left another 11 runners on base. 11 runners
Hmm.
on base tonight versus the four the Cubs left on base. We left 9 runners in scoring position with 2 outs. We're closing in on 600 runners left in scoring position with 2 outs in the season, and that's a number I still can't wrap my head around. We have no ability to get that big hit. When Aaron Nola struggles in one inning, and that's really all he
Hmm.
did. He struck out 10 or 8 tonight. He pitched
Yeah.
okay. He pitched decent enough to keep the Phillies in a game. But when there's no offense, I read you off the top of the fourth inning. There's about 4 innings of this game that kind of fit that same mo, where they get runners on early, they move them up to first and second, and then that's it. They cannot get them in, and that has been the story of this team all season long. So right now, here in late September, we're talking about the collapse again, and we're talking about going down the same old road. This road was predetermined this year because it's been happening all season long.
And we were fool's gold in June and July. We bought into this team that's going to be turned around because the firing of Joe Girardi and the hiring of Rob Thompson. This is going to be the guy. The team's playing hot baseball. And look, granted, they were 12 games out then, and now they've creeped it into this position. And here, what we thought was going to be good baseball. Even last week when I was down at the game, I looked at the three starting guys. You had Schwarber, Hoskins, and Remuto. I'm like, that's 3 easy outs. But luckily, Reese Hoskins has been playing good baseball in September, which is fine. That's what we needed. And like you said too about tonight's game, Nola actually played decent till the fifth inning. It should been you should been doing a number on this Cubs team, and yet you are swinging at anything. anything that comes your way. Lower beyond the kneecaps. Basic fundamental baseball. These guys are screwing up on, and
Yep.
it's all over.
Yep. So just in a glance, and we'll go over the line as we do every night here on the show. But Phillies did commit one error tonight, but this was their first error in like literally, what was it, 6 games or 5 games, which
Yeah.
contributed to the woes of the fifth inning. They also did have a stolen base tonight, which is positive. No home runs, which I'm not really that. I mean, I want to see this team win other than with the home runs, but they struck out 10 times as a team to bring their total up to 1260 on the season. So they're closing in on 1,300 team strikeouts. But they struck out 11 Cubs. They registered 11 hits, and they get 2 runs. 11 hits, and they get 2 runs. They are now also closing in on 1,300 team hits for the season. But we mentioned 7 runners left in scoring position with 2 outs, and then 12 runners left on base, not 11. I was off by 1. That number up now for just left on base for the Phillies in 2022, 990 runners, closing in on 1,000 runners left on base for the season. And our boy Sean here hits us up with the Phillies have lost 6 straight on the road. They've also now lost 4 in a row. They're 11-14 on the road, and if they happen to make the wild card and they are on the road, yep, they're 0-5 against the Cubs this year. That's obviously something we'll talk about, the 0-5 against the Cubs. But I'm going to give you one better, Sean. Since I keep saying that, August the 28th, which you guys probably don't remember that day, but that was the final game of that Pirates series in Philadelphia where the Phillies lost 5-0 right before they went to Arizona and San Francisco. But since then, the Phillies are 11-16. 11-16 since that game. And if we're going to try to pin tail on the donkey of a September collapse, I say it happened actually in August, or it began in August, if that's what happens here. But yeah, what is your take, Gobbler, on the 0-5 against the Chicago Cubs in 2022?
It's pathetic. It's really pathetic that you're 0-5 against a team that's not even trying to win. Maybe they're picking guys out of AAA that are ready for next year. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing that has the Phillies market. I don't know. Maybe the Phillies are not thinking about playing baseball there or entirely against this team. I don't know. They have lost it, and now this is to me is desperation move because, like I said, all it takes is a Brewers win today, and we are sitting out. So today, and I'm hoping this message gets to Rob Thompson. If there's any luck, if you switching up that lineup now, this to me, and I've had this multiple conversations with a lot of people. Why don't we put Alec Bohm be your leadoff guy since he's your most consistent bat, the guy you could trust. Put him be your leadoff, and pull Schwarber down at 4. Why? The home runs ratios might not be there, but the RBIs will be there for him. And right now, it's about scoring runs. You need to score runs. Don't worry about that long ball home run that lead off the game. You need to get guys on base, and so that guy in that cleanup position can start, putting away, get you some points on the board because we are not doing it now.
Pat, baseball is probably one of the most, I guess, superstitions of all the sports, and routine is a big thing for these guys. And I think the boat has sailed for any kind of major lineup switch at this point. It is what it is for us. And I fear that if we do get to the playoffs, and by the way, if the Brewers do hang on and win tonight, we will still maintain a half a game lead over Milwaukee for that final. And then we also own the tiebreaker. So all is not lost. But if we do find a way to back into the playoffs, and I say that word back in because that's exactly what's happening right now, we're going to be nothing but a speed bump or a tune-up series for whoever we play, either St. Louis or New York or Atlanta, as they prepare for the National League Divisional Series. So I'm looking more holistically at this thing. This team has got this team is not a complete team, and they got to really go to work in this offseason to become complete. And, we were all giddy about the Schwarber and the Castellanos move this spring, me included. But this team was constructed wrong. It's not balanced. There's not enough. It's too top heavy. It tips over. We need more balance. And I don't know what you do there. Trey Turner, he could remedy some of that. But where are you going to back Kyle Schwarber in the future? Because he cannot continue on as our leadoff hitter into the next season. And Nick Castellanos, he had a horrible season this year. He's not worth the money we paid for him so far this year. What do we do with him? Bryce Harper's injury situation. What are we doing there? Is he going to miss the whole first half of next season getting Tommy John surgery? There's so many issues with this team if we do not get into the playoffs, or even if we do, I don't think we're poised at this time to make a serious run.
I listen, and I'm with you. Look, if like again, it's been 11 years. So getting to the postseason to me, if you're like say you slide into the nightclub, just getting by the bouncer, by the bouncer, and you're getting ready to get bounced out, that's fine. At least you made it there. Congratulate. It's been over 11 years. Good, you made it there. But like I said to me, I'm looking at this like being the '07. Next year, you want to prepare for your '08, but like you said, there's so many holes and question marks for that you have to answer to. And like you said, what are we going to do with Bryce Harper now getting becoming injury prone? What are we going to do? Kyle Schwarber, like this is to me, like I said, maybe the ship has sailed. Maybe this is what he is. This is what they want him to be as this leadoff guy for whatever reason. This is like I said. Hey, look, you're fighting for your playoff lives. You want to make these big adjustments. Put him in that. To me, put him in that 3 to 4 hole. It's to me, it only makes you better. Um, you do have to make some adjustments. Castellanos, yeah, he had his early struggles, but somehow, some way, he was 15th, 16th in the league in bait and hitting. So he's catching on some way. Him and Alec Bohm. So they're playing well for you. It's just you need other small ball production, and you're not getting it. It's very inconsistent with this team. Very
Yeah,
inconsistent.
yeah, and Chris is feeding us some real time updates in the Brewer game. Bases loaded with no outs for the Brewers. It's now
Mhm.
3-1 Brewers. It's
Ah,
now 5-1 Brewers. Looks like the Brewers
ah.
are on their way to a victory tonight. So
Is
looks
there
like
like a dark cloud on us or something? Like,
our
what's going
leader will
on?
be at the game at the end of the night. Serdar, where you been,
Ah,
man? You only come out of the damn woodwork when we got some drama here in Philadelphia. Why don't you worry about the Mets, man? Because they're about to. Oh, he says the Mets come from behind to win. Yep, and the Braves lost. Really, dude, with 8 games left, man, get off, man. Listen, a lot of people say I'm in denial, man. You need some help, man. This thing is far from over for the Mets winning the division at this point. And Chris says
eh,
5-1
uh,
Brewers.
again, I listen. Say it. Listen. I already got hit with the Yankees winning the AL East. I don't need you to tell me about the Mets going to win the NL East. Okay, we get it. It's a New York world we're living in. Okay, I mean, what do you want from me anymore?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Do we
So
bring back the manager there, Gobbler? Does Rob Thompson deserve an opportunity to coach full time or manage full time in 2023? What do you think about that?
he deserves it. Even with all this going on, and I like to give him a fair shake of the beginning of the year. I like to see what he would do with this team in April. Maybe we would have a better record than we do now. Who knows? But I think he's earned it. Like I said, this team was 12 games out in June, and they battled back. So to put themselves in this position, I gotta give him kudos. So, and this was, again, 2 months without Harper, who's just coming off an MVP caliber year. So I would tell him, yeah, he definitely deserves it.
So I kind of agree with you there, but there's a couple of things that I have issue with Rob Thompson. One, I don't see much fire from him. Has he been thrown out of a game yet? Has he even argued a call? Has he even gotten into an argument with an umpire since in the hundred and some odd games he's been our manager? I haven't
Good
seen it.
points. Good points.
And maybe that's just not his way. But what is he doing now to kind of right this ship? We're sinking right now, and I don't see nothing that he's been doing in this case. And I mentioned baseball being a game of superstition and whatnot, but he did tweak the lineup once, and that was about a week ago when he moved Brandon Marsh up to the fifth hole. What in the hell is Brandon Marsh doing back fifth in any lineup in any level of baseball? The guy's not a five guy,
No.
so I don't know, man. I think that Dave Dombrowski should keep everything wide open because he's going to go through the whole interview process. He's got to bring candidates in and whatnot. I don't know who exactly would express interest in coming here, but he would definitely be a dark horse candidate. But I'm not going to. I'm not ready to sign any kind of deal with him right now. And then we got to wait and see how this thing all plays out too. So I don't know. I really don't. I'm kind of up in the air about that.
You shed some light to me. Yeah. I mean, look, I still like I said, I like to see what he could do in April. I'm willing to give this guy a chance, maybe because that's the kindness of my heart. But like you said, where's maybe he's not that kind of coach that gets in people's faces and all this stuff, but tweaking one little thing and like, no, I need right now. This is what tells me you get this job for next year or not. This is the big stuff. This is what separates the good ones from the bad ones. This is what separates the Joe Girardis from the real ones. Uh, I need you to tell me what you're going to do to change this because your backs are against the wall, and I need you to be that dangerous animal. Your back's against the wall and come out swinging. So it's sink or swim right now. So what are we doing? And he's at the captain of this boat. He's the captain of this. He
And
needs to
Sean
make some
Khan
major
saying,
adjustments.
with Hurricane Ian and rain in the forecast for Saturday and Sunday, the Phillies Nationals and Major League Baseball are discussing playing a day-night doubleheader on Friday and single games Saturday and Sunday. If Saturday's game cannot be played, the teams will play another doubleheader on Sunday. This is. Yeah, so this is a
Yeah.
real interesting situation because there's already a program doubleheader in this series to make up a game from the lockout way back when. There was I believe the Phillies or the Nationals were the second series that were supposed to be of the start of the season that got lost
Hmm.
way back then. So they're already got a program doubleheader. Now you got a hurricane, the residual effects of a hurricane. That's, by the way, I hope everybody who's listening in the Florida area is
Hmm.
safe and sound. Um, Interesting situation where you might have multiple doubleheaders because of rain and bad weather with a rotation right now that's a little out of sorts, a little out of kilter, and now these games mean something. This is very interesting how this might affect the Phillies. If these games, which they probably will, and they'll mean a lot for the Phillies this weekend. So, what do you think? How does that affect the rotation? If we got to play multiple doubleheaders in the series at the end, the series before the last one of the season.
Yeah, it's going to affect them a bunch. You know what I mean? They just gotta maintain the course. You gotta hope that listen. Again, you're playing against bad teams, so it shouldn't be that much effective. You should be able to take care of business. This is still the Nationals, another team that has nothing to fight for, unless they must need to see somebody from their AAA and want to give them a shot. Got their feet in the water. That looks dominant down there. Other than that, they got nothing to play for. You just go there and take care of business, whether it's a single game, double header. I know, like you said, fatigue's gonna play a role in it and all that stuff, but you should be able to put away this bad, horrible team. You should get this should be a 4-game sweep.
Are you talking about the Cubs or Nationals?
Oh man, right. Yeah, then again, and it was so funny. My brother and my brother-in-law and I had a discussion. He goes, "Oh, don't worry." He said, "I'm worried about the Phillies going to play down their level of competition. They're 0-5 against the Cubs." I said, and I was so Phillies fixed. I'm like, nah, they'll be all right. They're going to take care of the Cubs. They should be. And boy, was I wrong. And
Ah,
boy, was I wrong.
Ellis wants us to switch the lineup tomorrow. Ellis and Joe, if Joe Girardi, I
Yes.
won't say Girardi. If Rob Thompson switches the lineup tomorrow, I would be highly surprised. Now he might switch the lineup because we are playing a day game night or a day game tomorrow, so maybe Garrett Stubb gets to start catcher. But I don't know. That's about the only thing I see in a switch of a lineup. Jacobo says the missed bunt and looking at strikes right down Broadway, Marsh and Segura costs the game. I'm not ready to say that, Jacobo. Kyle Schwarber striking out with the with in a tough
Yeah.
spot there in the eighth inning. There's enough offensive lane to go around to single out Brandon Marsh and Gene Segura, who Gene Segura has been a very consistent bat ball. His work ethic,
Yes.
he's got me back as a fan right now because I thought he had a great season even with the injury. So I'm not ready to kind of go there. It says the Berg Magic number about to be smaller than ours. Yeah. Well, not yet. No, it's not, guys. The Brewers would
Yeah.
still be a half a game behind us, even if they win tonight. And the Phillies own the tiebreaker. So pump the
So.
brakes. Pump the brakes right now. I mean, it's looking bad, but it's not looking that bad. I guess I don't know if you guys, but it makes sense.
The
Um,
hole's
come
not
on.
that big.
Why is the Met? Why do the Met fans do this, man? Oh, listen, worry about your own backyard, brother. Good God, man,
I'll tell you, the New York Roaches, they know how to crawl. They're crawling all
man.
over the place. They're coming through, baby.
Joseph
Oh
said,
boy.
I think the manager has done a fairly good job with one exception. The stance on having Schwarber bat leadoff. The guy isn't a leadoff hitter. Never will be. Yeah, I agree. And I would love to know at the end of the season what Dave Dombrowski's take on that is and why there was a resistance to move Schwarber down to anywhere other than leadoff. I think they toyed around with it early in the year. I'm talking like April early, where Schwarber
Mhm.
wasn't leading off. I don't know why they abandoned it. Is it Schwarber saying I want to bat leadoff? I don't know, and it's I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's a great question. I want answered. Yeah.
I'm with him. I'm with Joey Kane here. I need to put Kyle Schwarber. Like he said, if Kyle Schwarber is not in that fourth hole, your most consistent power bat, and he's being your leadoff man. What are we doing here? What are we doing? We need RBIs. We need them being driven in. Stack that scoreboard up. It's fundamental baseball. Give 4 to 5 runs. Hello, what are we doing? But like I said, pull Alec Bohm at number one. Your most consistent hitter.
Yeah, I
That
agree.
that's just how I see it. It's a no brainer. Or put him or like you said Stott up there. That should be your 1-2 punch. Have Reese put in. You could put him in the cleanup spot right now. The way he's swinging the bat, he's got these
Yeah,
guys 1 and 2. He's got these guys
some,
1 and 2. It
something.
doesn't make sense to me.
All right, Pat, let's take a look at the line. The Phillies was finished tonight with 2 runs on 11 hits and an error. Cubs, 4 runs, 6 hits and no errors, and how the scoring all happened tonight. Bryce Harper would get the Phillies going early on in the top of the third when he would sac fly in Kyle Schwarber to give the Phillies 1-0 lead. And, then that would be all pretty much Cubs after that. Yan Gomes would then hit fielder's choice and Nico Homer would score, making it 1-1. This was in the bottom of the fifth, but they weren't done in the bottom of the fifth as Chris Morel would then have the hit of the night, a 3-run jack off Aaron Nola to make it 4-1 Cubs. They were aided with some shaky defensive play that inning as well. So Nola pitched pretty seamlessly up till that fifth inning. Bryce Harper would get the Phillies going again in the seventh when he would fielder's choice in Kyle Schwarber to make it 4-2. And Pat, that is it. The Phillies could not muster any more offense on the Cubs tonight. On the lines individually, Schwarber 1 for 4, 2 runs, a stolen base, and a strikeout. He left 5 runners on base. He was responsible for leaving 5 runners on base tonight. Rhys Hoskins, a pretty decent night, 3 for 4 with a walk. Bryce Harper, 0 for 4 with 2 RBIs on those fielder's choice and that sac fly. JT, 0 for 5. What has gone wrong with JT lately as well? He's kind of slipped off a little bit. Alec Bohm, 1 for 4. Nick Castellanos, 3 for 4. Very good to see that as he's working his way back into the lineup from an injury that cost him about a month. Brandon Marsh, 1 for 4. Gene Segura, 2 for 4. Bryson Stott, 0 for 3. And Matt Burling in a pinch hitting role, 0 for 1. On the Cubs side of things, Coriolis was 2 for 4. And he was pretty much the offense for them. And then Chris Morel with the big 3-run shot as well into the night there to give the Cubs that 4-1 lead. I'm going to give my Philly offensive player of the night to Nick Castellanos for his 3-for-4 performance. Pitching wise, Aaron Nola will get the loss. He's 10-13. He won 6 somewhat decent innings, with the exception of that 5th inning. 5 hits, 4 runs. They were all earned. He struck out 8 and did not walk any. Nick Nelson pitched an inning, gave up a hit and 2 strikeouts. Bellotti an inning as well and gave up a strikeout. On the Cubs side of things, Wisniewski gets the win. He's 3-1. He pitched 5 innings, 6 hits, 1 run. It was earned, 2 walks and 3 strikeouts. And Rodriguez would pick up the save, his 4th save of the season. And that's how you have it. 42 Cubs. And we're left scratching our heads here, guys. And I wish we had the answers for you. I don't know what's going on. I know people, to include myself, still believe that they're going to get in. But my concern has been since about August, is what kind of damage are we actually going to do if we make it in? And that's really what I'm really having a problem with.
Well, like I said, we do have winning records against anyone else besides, unless my buddy Paul does a great job talking Cowboys football. He does a great job doing out of the box, talking MMA. He does a great job. Here's another thing. To me, I look at it like this. We do have winning records against the Dodgers and everyone in St. Louis. Everyone knows. It's just the 2 teams in front of us, the Braves and the Mets. Some reason we cannot beat them. Cannot beat them. And to me, but like right now, our backs are against the wall. This is again, we're 0-5 against the Cubs. We're not going to see the Cubs there. So we can, elude that. We don't have to worry about them. But however, this is where you want to get things right. Again, you're fighting for your playoff spots. If we get into the door, anything can happen. I think we can make a noise, but if we don't, I'm okay with it too, because again, it's been 11 years, so they are trending in the right direction. For me, anyway, that's my opinion.
A better man than me, Pat. Let's take a look at the outcome scoreboard. We've been getting the real-time updates. It's 5-1 Milwaukee, and they're headed to the top. They're in the top of the ninth right now, and in Milwaukee as the Brewers are looking to win this game tonight to try to pull within a half game of the Phillies. The other game of interest for the Phillies, LA and San Diego are scoreless in the bottom of the 4th out there in San Diego. And as for the Phillies, they'll be back at this thing tomorrow for a day game at Wrigley Field. Boy, that used to be the norm, a day game at Wrigley Field. It's good to see them are getting one. Ranger Suarez will take his 10-5, 3.38 ERA, and he'll be opposed by Javier Assad, who's 1-2 with his 4.28 ERA. It's 2:20 first pitch time at Wrigley for an old-fashioned Wrigley
Can I
Field
can
day.
I chime in? Can I say something about Wrigley Field? First of all, it's on my bucket list of
Yeah, mine too.
stadiums. Okay, that's on my bucket list. I wish I would have gone with Philly sports trips right now. Not to see this mess anyway, but I would love to go in there just to enjoy the sights. But what I've learned about the pandemic, and of course everything was locked out. They were showing old time baseball before my time, about like the '70s, like late '70s, and it was Phillies versus Cubs. And I gotta say, I wish I was around for that time. Dudes were sitting there in their short shorts, no shirts on, and looked like they were smoking, getting high, sitting there and chilling. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wish I was just hanging with those guys. No, but it looked like a good time. And I was like,
It
but yeah,
is.
my dad was telling me, he's like, that's how it was back in the '70s. Like, you could just chill. Like, it wasn't like it was today. Like
No.
these guys, it's like a hot summer day. These guys are walking in their shorts, just shorts and no t-shirts and getting hot.
Yeah,
I thought it was. I'm like, damn, that was like a pretty good time. But yeah, it looks like I said, it's been a dream of mine since like the movie Rookie of the Year. I actually got to talk with the star of that movie not too long ago on TikTok. So yeah,
Rowan Gardner.
Roland Garner. Yeah, I got to actually. Me and him were talking about cheesesteaks. Um, I'll have to show you the
Yeah,
conversation me and him had. But yeah, it was me and him talked, and yeah, I would love to go out there just because of that movie, and because like I said, it's a legendary field. So
it
it's
is.
one of the stadiums on my bucket list.
I actually remember the first night game at Wrigley Field. It was actually against the Phillies. And
Really?
yeah, the first night game at Wrigley was against the Phillies. I think it was like in '89. Phil Bradley hit the first home run at night at Wrigley Field. He was the
Right.
Phillies center fielder, I think, at the time. But the game got rained out. The first game, night game at Wrigley, got rained out before it was official. So everything got washed away. And then the next night home run was a few games later. It wasn't involved in the Phillies, but yeah, Phil Bradley hit the first unofficial night home run at Wrigley Field back in 1989, and I actually watched that game on TV.
Why is he here? We know this, David. Jeez, I love you, David. Thank you,
Dave's giving us
David.
some real time updates. So it's official: the Brewers have defeated the Cardinals to pull within a half a game of the Phillies for that final wild card spot, and it's no joke. I mean, it's a real thing, and we're struggling. But we've been seeing this around the news. We've been seeing this on sports radio, or we're hearing it. I should say we're seeing it, but we're hearing it on sports radio. A lot of like this was the '80 Phillies record at this point, or this was the '08 Phillies record at this point. All those types of comparisons, and it's warranted. It's legit because really, it all that matters is we get in. Once we get in, all bets are off. But um, I want to know, and I don't really, I don't want to know, but what would the fallout be if we don't get it? If we just implode down the stretch here and don't win about maybe one or two of these final 8 games and we miss the playoffs? I
Oh
mean, what
man.
does Dombrowski say? How does he even like, where do you even
Well,
go?
first of all, like you would have to, like you alluded to earlier, you're not going to go back to Rob Thompson. He's out of the job.
Yeah,
Number
yeah.
two, number two, you're gonna have to shake up that locker room. You're gonna have to do major. But the bad part is you gave a lot of these guys some major deals. So guess what? Most of these guys are gonna be around here for next year. You're gonna
Yep.
have Harper. You're gonna have Nick Castellanos. You're gonna have Kyle Schwarber. Unless you do something now to that lineup, like you said, in which you're probably not going to do because you're so settled on what you have, and bulk of us want, most of us, I'm not going to say all of us, want to see a shakeup. So but this is what you got for next year. Maybe some minor tweaks here and there, utility players and role players. What else do you really got?
Well, I would say Reese Hoskins would be immediately traded. You're gonna have to move off of him.
Yeah,
He's
and
he's
it's a shame
tradable.
because right, and it's a shame because he's been playing really hot baseball. He has been an inconsistent year. Had a nice summer, and then he just had this past week. He's been really hot. But like you said, you're gonna have to move that if that's your best piece to get some hopefully better. Then yeah, you have to move on from Reese.
And I definitely would be kicking the tires on potentially moving JT. I mean, I'm just looking at the catcher spot and the fact that he's getting up there, or maybe you move JT to first. I don't know, but you're going to have to do something. And nobody was. And it's funny how what difference a 6 months can make because everybody was doing handstands back in March when we signed those two. And well, we're going to win games 11-10 and 15-14, and all's going to be right in the world. But yeah, we didn't. I don't think I saw this. I don't think I saw how like one-sided it was going to be when it came to home run or nothing. It's
Three,
epically bad, and it's very frustrating to see.
it is very frustrating. 3 months ago, we were one of the hottest teams in the MLB, and now it's ugly. It's ugly fast. And like I said, we still got a half game. We still can make this thing right.
Oh yeah,
We got to take care of things in our. We can't worry about what the Brewers are doing and all that. We have to get. We control our destiny here. We have to make things right. We have to at least now take one game from the Cubs and sweep the Nationals, and then go down to Houston and take care of business down there.
yeah, and yeah,
This is all a layup for you.
the Brewers will start a 4-game series tomorrow at home against the Miami Marlins. So they got the Marlins in for
Oh, nice, nice. That's you talk about layups. You know, can't
we'll
be any
see.
easier than that.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, Pat, that's going to wrap us up, man. Do you have any parting shots? What's going on with you lately? I know you've been bouncing around. I saw you. I saw you the other day with your family on the show, which was pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
That's kind of weird, but
Uh,
yeah, it's awesome, man. What's going on
yeah,
with you?
I love having my own family on. Mike was down with the Philly sports trip, so he couldn't make it. But and he had work to do, so my family, decided to fill in for him. So whenever you get to be with your family talking sports, and I come from a family wealth of sports knowledge. I mean, my grandpa on down. You see my dad last week. You got to see my brother. We love talking sports. But this week it's just gonna be me and Mike back on StreamYard. We're gonna be back on the lineup, and we can't wait to start talking with the peeps again about this crazy Eagles game that's coming up and Phillies.
Yeah, yeah, and Freddie Burns hits us up with guys. The sport is
Uh,
way too exhausting to watch this stuff. It's supposed to be fun. It is, but I don't
Fred,
know, man. This ain't fun
Phillies are causing
baseball.
me. Phillies are causing me sleep, Fred.
Yeah.
I
For those of you who had not noticed yet, but this network has gone and grown leaps and bounds, and it's growing every day as we continue to add new stuff and new content and new people. It's Thursday night, right? No, today's Wednesday. I'm sorry. You had the Philly Press Box Radio on earlier, the EOP flagship show, EOP Live with Freddie and Al. Or not Freddie, but Joey and Al were just on a couple hours ago, and then of course me and the Gobbler here doing the final tomorrow. You got some Birds IQ with the man Kyle Quinn, round mound, the attacking third, and then of course I'll be back sometime tomorrow afternoon. I should probably be the one kicking everything off tomorrow with the Phightins final as we have some day game action down there at Wrigley. And if you're in Delco and you need to get to a bar, well, you should go to the only bar in Delco, Dolan's Bar, and get one of them gritty sandwiches. I hear it's pretty good. Never seen one, but I keep hearing about it. And don't forget Philly Sports Trips. We mentioned them a couple times in this show. They are in Chicago right now, checking out the Phillies. But they got a bunch of stuff coming up. Their next Eagles trip is coming up here in a couple of weeks to Arizona. And of course, they have tailgates down there at the Gatehouse. Every home game, there's a tailgate down at the Gatehouse, aka the Navy Yard. Go there and check that out. You can actually park your car there and then walk over to the link. And that in itself is the reason to go there and go to that party. So go ahead and check them out. And if things are going well, but all of a sudden they don't, like maybe you missed the playoffs and you need some questions about workman's comp, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, or criminal, Dave Cherry at 610-565-0300. Tell him EOP and your boy Matty B sent you. And Gobbler, it's a pleasure as always, and I'm glad you're coming on. And I know we're wrapping things up, and I would like to think a week from now. Well, we will be, but I like to think beyond a week from now, I'll still be doing this as we get ready for the playoffs or as the playoffs begin. So I hope we continue to do this. And remember, Gobbler, just because the season does end doesn't mean the final will end. We're going to do some review. We're going to do a review episode. We're going to do some hot stove stuff throughout the winter and get everybody ready for spring training. And then, of course, soon, 4 months from now, we'll be able to turn this thing around completely and do it again in 2023. So, Pat, thanks for your support and continued support as we move through, hopefully, into the playoffs.
Well, sure. And if they don't make the postseason, we could do a review show for my hospital bed because my blood pressure will be so sky high that I'll be one up in the ER room at Edmonton Hospital.
Okay, well, definitely that would be a good show.
I'm telling you.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you guys later. Go Phils. We'll see you tomorrow.